Welcome to edition 112 of All Killer No Filler podcast with me, Rachel Fairburn, and Kira Pritchard McLean. Just before we start, we'll do our usual disclaimer. This isn't hero worship. We do this podcast because we have a mutual interest in serial killers. As long as we are doing this podcast, it stops us from writing to them in prison.
Yes, I absolutely hate this guy. I'll just say it from the top. I think he's horrible.
Well, he's horrible, but he's caused us a lot of hassle.
Yes.
We're the real victims in all of this. Because, obviously, that's being lighthearted. Don't write in. Because, how many times have we tried to record this?
This is the third go?
This is the third go.
Yeah.
The first time, my internet went off.
Mm-hmm. There was work being done outside.
There was work being done outside. Unannounced, may I add.
Second, we tried to record it and my audio was lagging.
Yeah.
And then there was a problem where you sounded like you were in a tiny jar.
Yeah, that's how I always sound, I think.
Like a child that's fallen down a well.
Yeah, a child down a well. And then, but after we stopped recording, I came off it and there was a massive power cut in this area.
In London.
Unannounced, again.
Is power cuts frequent in London?
No.
I'd say they're quite frequent in the countryside. I love a power cut.
They're not. I mean, that's the first time in years I've had a power cut. So we are haunted by a man who is still alive, sadly.
Yeah, he is. This guy is really horrible, and he is horrible in the way that your mate is probably married to someone like this, kind of horrible when you get to your 30s, right?
Yeah. Should we talk? Should we have a little round robin, a catch up?
Yes, I'd like to know, because you sent me the other day. You sent me a message saying, I have a resting heart rate of whatever it was. And you're like, I'm in the theatre and it's over 100.
Right.
So please tell me what happened there.
So first of all, let's say thank you to everyone who came to see Tarot and my shows in Edinburgh, much appreciated.
And thank you to everyone who's come and seen me on tour so far.
Yes.
Really, a lot of legends. In some places, like, there's so many of them and I'm never able to predict where.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true. There's little enclaves of legends. We should do a little study of where they are, legends in the wild. What was I saying? Oh, Edinburgh. Yeah, thanks to everyone that came to the 10-year anniversary tour.
Oh, that was great.
It's like a distant memory now, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
That was great fun.
And when this is coming out? Oh, and there's still some tickets left for our Halloween shows in Ireland and our Christmas show in Newcastle, which we can't wait for.
Yeah, so get on that. That'll be fun. It's creeping up. Life is hurtling by. We'll be dead in the ground before we know it.
It's your birthday
tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Yeah, that's
what that bag is. It's your presents.
Oh, thank you. I'm always very usually miserable around my birthday, but I've had I don't know. I'm not really. I don't subscribe to age anymore, as you know. Very much like Prince in that respect.
I think if I looked like you, I wouldn't subscribe to it either.
I just think I don't know. I feel a bit better about things this year. I don't know. I feel more positive in life.
Great.
Which is going to be terrible for this podcast. Anyway, listen, to bring it back to... Oh, I did get Oasis tickets, by the way.
Yes, don't worry.
I got them in the ballot. And the ballot was...
You were like, yeah, I got it proper way, the official way from the ballot. Like there was...
Because I imagined Liam Gallagher sitting there with all the emails going, no, yeah, she can come in. Yeah. Got him in the ballot. And I'll tell you what, I got a taste of what it must be like to be a Tory. Because I got him in the ballot... And then the day after was the drama of hundreds of thousands of people trying to get tickets. And then all the sob stories of people. I was like, I couldn't give a fuck. I don't give a shit that you didn't get a ticket. Suck it up, because I'm all right.
I worked hard. I went through the proper channels and I've been rewarded for it.
I have put the effort in. I've worked for many years to be a fan of this band. And things have gone my way, so fuck you. Cardiff, cannot wait. I will be there. Anyway, my heart rate. I will make this quick. I went to the theatre the other day.
What did you see?
Well, see, I like the word theatre, but I hate it when people call it theatre, I went to see... I don't want to say what the play is, because I'd feel bad if...
Fine.
Now, the thing is, I love anything about an affair. If it's about an affair, fucking count me in. Yes, please. Right.
Already, I can hear the sound of keyboards going as people are like, play London affair.
I don't think they'll get it from that.
Okay.
Also, anyway, you don't know when this is. Look, the point is, I wouldn't ever... And of course, it's not about the actors and actresses in it, apart from one of whom who couldn't do an American accent. But I got there to the theatre and I was... First of all, I don't like heights. And this is like a modern theatre. And I bought the ticket, which was too fucking expensive. And... it was on an upper level. So I had to, and I'm like, well, I don't like heights, do I? And as I was walking in, it's bloody dangerous because I nearly fell over for a kick-off, right? And then I was sat, just me, up there, like an owl in a bell tower. Like, looking, and people were like looking at me because it was
The Raven.
Yeah, exactly. Like, woo, sat up there. I was like, this is awful. So the woman came up to me, she went, oh, just so you know, when it starts, you can move. Because I was like, yeah, thank you. So as I went to move before it started, of course I tripped over again. Right, and I'm like, have I got a fucking brain tumour or something? So I'm sat there, and there's a couple next to me who I can only describe as they must have, on the way to the theatre, met a genie who granted them one wish, and that wish was to have a never-ending bag of popcorn. Why are you... And I swear to God, as soon as the play started... It is not the cinema, this is the theatre. They're real people eating. There's no need for people to eat. If you go to a comedy club and you order a pizza and you eat it while somebody's on stage performing, you're scum.
That's so unreasonable.
It's not unreasonable. Have your tea before you come out, or have it in the interval, or have it after the show. Do you have to eat? Do you like some fucking Roman emperor?
I like to eat. I like popcorn,
TV, cinema. Yeah, that is absolutely fine, and I accept that. But the theatre, when it's an actual person doing a live performance, can you just focus on that and not, Anyway, it's crunching his popcorn. And I was like, I can't enjoy life. Why? This is me. I am not an issue in this world. I've done nothing wrong. And I've been put in this situation. And my heart rate is usually 57, which is the resting heart rate of an athlete. I'll have you know. Thank you very much. And it went up to, I think it's highest, it was 100 because I was just so agitated. And my final thought on this is, Jerry Springer style, my final thought is, great, very interesting that people can act, it's fantastic. Please stop having 20-year-old men playing teenagers. It's embarrassing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, oh, God, Mo. Oh, Mo. It's so embarrassing. And, of course, actors need to project... But can you tone it down a bit? Because you're actually just fucking shouting now.
Oh, really? But that's bad technique.
Oh, my God. It was...
If you project, it shouldn't look like they're shouting.
Shouting.
Really?
Oh, my God. I can't... Like, please.
Yeah, it's very rare. It's very rare that I go to the theatre and I don't feel embarrassed for someone on the stage. But I'm sure there's people who come and see me do stand-up and they're like...
Oh, my God. Who are we to say anything? What we do is so fucking
It's
embarrassing.
so embarrassing, yeah.
It's so cringe.
Everyone sit down. I'm going to talk about me for an hour.
Yeah. Oh my God. Isn't it awful? I'm making myself feel ill. Like,
Oh, yeah, you have to pay. I'm going to talk about myself, but you have to pay.
do you ever have that where you've, like, a gig might be average or not what you want, and in your head you're going, what the fuck am I doing?
Yeah, it's so embarrassing.
It's like you have an out-of-body experience.
It is like, those dreams where you're like naked in front of the class.
Yeah.
It's like that. And you're like, oh, this is real. This isn't a dream.
It's awful. You filmed your show.
Filmed my show, yeah.
Leeds City
and
Varieters, wonderful venue.
Incredible audience. They just got it. It was brilliant. Yeah, I loved it. I think it's going to come out really well. But I was sick as a dog during that as well.
Really? Oh, with you? Yeah.
Do you know what I went to the other day? I had a kid with us and I took him to the cinema, one of the cinemas that the serial killer owned.
Oh.
Finally been, Holyhead.
What was it like?
At his behest, I said, oh, we'll go to, you can see all these shows in Llandudno, which is like a Cineworld. And he went, oh, I don't want to go to that one. I went, okay, mate, where do you want to go? And he went, the one in Holyhead has the best popcorn. And I was like, then we're going to the one in Holyhead. £6 for an adult to go and see a film there.
Okay.
I think it's about £3.50 for a child.
That's all
council owned, nice art deco.
Yeah.
Screen one we're in. There's only one screen, and the popcorn is pre-boxed, and you can't pick a flavour, and it's definitely been there for ages.
Oh,
but I
God.
absolutely love it.
Oh, and that's the best popcorn.
He says, but then I made him fresh popcorn, and he's like, "Is this?" He's like, "What tastes different about it?" I want to be like, it seems like every other popcorn you've eaten is at least 6 weeks old. That's what's.
I have to say, listen, I'm a recent convert to popcorn now, because I used to on like Butterkist and I used to think this is all right, but then I did a voiceover that was, I can't remember what it was for, but what was it for? I can't bloody remember. I had to made me eat some popcorn for effect, which must be annoying to some people. And I was like, yeah, fine, thinking I don't like popcorn, but
That's for the director to pull himself off over.
I was like, sure, willing. And it was just a sweet and salty one. I was
Oh my God, it's so good, isn't
obsessed
it?
now.
The
That's
pink,
it.
the pink bag.
Yeah, obsessed. Can't stop eating it.
Can I suggest that Tesco's own brand is the best one of those?
It's very good.
Yeah.
It's very good. Listen, look, there'll be someone
Just
getting
some-
really fucking annoyed about this now.
Just some women, you know, sort of midlife women talking about which popcorn they really like.
Do you know, I was listening to a podcast the other day, but Ghost Hunt's, great podcast, love it. And they were saying in it that people have complained about the preamble in it. Fuck off. If you like this, no offence, but this is our podcast, so we'll talk about what we want.
Listen,
And I it's like there is a skip button. Do you know what I mean? Just skip. Like
treat this
fast
like an
forward.
advert.
Yeah. Also, if you're getting your look, I don't look. If you're getting, it's been a while since we recorded. I have had a lot in, you know. If you're getting annoyed, if you want to know about murders properly, this is not the place to learn everything.
no.
You know, this is
Find
Anyway.
an academic text. Okay, so are we ready?
John Sweeney, the Canal Killer,
Yes.
Scalp Hunter, which I think he gave himself.
Yes, that comes from, and this will come back later on, he drew sketches of the murders. And on one of them, it's the piece is titled The Scalp Hunter, so that is where they got the name from.
Okey-doke. Now,
Also known as Scouse Joe.
Scouse Joe. He had several aliases, which we'll get to.
Yeah.
Later on. He was born in Liverpool. He's our serial killer in 1956. And he lived with his mother in Skelmersdale.
Yeah.
Worked as a joiner and a carpenter. And he left the UK to go to Europe.
No, he was from a working class background, but apparently a decent family.
I love it when people say that. As if working class people, we have to but they were a decent family.
Yeah.
They weren't one of the scumbags.
But also,
Having said that, as a working class person, sometimes I'm a bit like, yeah, but not them.
I think also if your son turns out to be a serial killer, you probably want to be like, I promise we're a decent family.
Nothing to do with me.
And his nana or his mum. This is I've got an interview from his son, and so his mum was always like, I don't understand it because he was a very good child. He was a good little boy. So he gets married in 1976, doesn't he?
Yep, to Anne Bramley.
Lovely name that. I feel like Anne Bramley is the kind of name that you would find in a stately home. In a stately home.
Yeah.
Anne Bramley lived here until she died of TB at 21. Do you know what? Speaking of, oh God, so I've been on tour and
All right, mate, we all go out.
I fucking barely do. Unless I'm going to Lyme Regis to play to no one.
Oh, are you doing that, Lyme Regis?
Yeah, and
Can I just say, it's brilliant.
really? Someone came last night and said, oh, we saw Rachel at Lyme
When is
Regis. It's literally Tuesday next week.
It is brilliant. It was one of the Marine Theatre.
Yeah.
It's got the most beautiful dressing room.
Really?
Oh, look, you'll love it. And
Well, there's about 8 people coming, Rachel.
doesn't matter. You will have the best gig. Like I think I had about 20 people in, if that. And it was so good.
Oh, great, fun.
Really
Perfect.
good fun. Listen, there could be 5 people in there and I think you'd have a great time.
Oh, thrilled. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I will go anywhere, and I would never consider pulling a tour
No,
date
never.
either. So my partner and I, where possible, have been visiting a National Trust property.
Absolutely, of course.
So we went to a brilliant one called Kingston Lacey, down in sort of
Sounds like a porn star.
yeah, and I can't work out their gender.
It's a man. It's a guy. It's a guy, yeah.
As a guy. So we went to Kingston Lacey, and you guys on there with the National Trust app, it says what's coming up, and I clicked on it, and we were like, oh, we'll go tomorrow, and it was like, oh, it's a Heritage Open Day, which means we don't have to pay to get in.
Yeah.
Thrilled.
8th September, Heritage Open Days.
Yeah.
Check out in your local area.
So we were like, oh, I don't think we have to pay. I have a couple of passes from referring people to my ethical bank. But anyway, so we get there and they said, are you members? And we said, oh, we're not, we're afraid. And then they went, oh, it's your lucky day. It's a Heritage Open Day. And the theatrics that my partner and I pulled were unbelievable. We were like, a Heritage Open Bay? What is this? And they were like, oh, it's a Heritage Open Day, which means that you can come in for free. The whole house is open. You're welcome to. And we were like, well, goodness me. What a fortuitous day. You boy, what day is this? Is it Heritage Open Day?
A house, you say? It's
Yeah.
open.
It was absolutely mad, the theatrics that we pulled over it. It was like embarrassing. Anyway, so 2 days later, we have a bit of time to burn in Basingstoke. And I went, oh, should we see if there's another Nazi tea? Looked at it, another fucking Heritage Open Day, the day we wanted to do it. And to say that the previous days, the other time we did it was a dress rehearsal. It was
God.
unbelievable. We're like walking up to it being like, well, I'm so glad we're going to pay to get into this fine establishment. I believe in supporting institutions.
If it helps to the upkeep of the building, I'm all for it.
Are you members? No, we are so sorry. We are not members, but we will financially compensate you for today. Well, today's a Heritage Open Day. Oh, what? A who? It was so pathetic that we couldn't just go, oh, great, yeah, we saw it on the app.
And what did the volunteers do? Were they thrilled that you were thrilled?
Yeah, because that's part of it, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was so embarrassing. You're right.
Really made me laugh. And what was the house like? Was it all the better for being free?
Can I tell you, Kingston Lacey is absolutely fantastic. I'd thoroughly recommend it. The other one that we went to, I won't name it. I mean, they're doing fine, aren't they? I really like the Walled Garden. And there was a couple. We always do, what was your favourite room? What was your favourite painting? What was your favourite item? Who was your favourite guide?
Oh, nice. Nice touch.
We get really stuck into the guides. Stuck in like Kingston Lacey would. I'm not fucking any of the guides. Bears repeating. Bears repeating is another porn star. So I didn't rate the second one, but I loved Kingston Lacey.
Okay, good. I went to the Oliver Cromwell Museum recently.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, this was the day that the Oasis reunion was announced.
Big day for you.
Of which I was, I kind of didn't want it, and I did want it, and I didn't. And then when all the sort of excitement happened. Now, here's something that I must say about this, and I want to get this out there. Me and my friend Paul McCaffrey, big Oasis fans. Paul McCaffrey, brilliant comedian. Very good friend of mine. Now, we love Oasis, right? So this is our general conversation. We'll have a chat about it. Now, I'd say 6 months ago, I messaged him and I said, I've got a feeling this is happening. And he said, me too. I said to Tim, Tim, can you go into a betting shop and find out what the odds are on an Oasis reunion for me? Because I'm going to put a substantial amount of money on this. This is how confident I feel. Did he? No.
But the odds could have been shit.
The odds would have been good, I think.
Oh, really?
I think I would have won quite a substantial amount of money. And he didn't go into the betting shop. Because I'm not going into a betting shop. He didn't do that. And I am still slightly peeved about it. What was my point about this?
Is this how you tell the podcast you've left him?
Yeah, well, I would have won a nice amount of money, I think. Maybe like a little mini break.
Would it have paid for the tickets?
Yeah.
Well, there you go.
Twice over, I'd say. But, you see, now the thing is, the Oasis thing was happening, and then on the morning...
I think you know so much about Oasis, it would be technically insider trading.
Well, I did think that as well. But the other weird thing is, when me and Paul were talking about that this is happening, about 2 weeks before, and this is months after I'd said this to Paul, 2 weeks before, a friend of ours, Danny McLaughlin, messaged me and said, my barber has said that there's going to be an Oasis reunion. I went, how the fuck does your barber know? Anyway, it turns out he fucking did, right? Huh? So all these little things. But the point is, the day of the Oasis reunion, when it was announced, the excitement, and I was buzzing. I was a bit like, this is fucking all right. Yeah, I'm gonna lean into this. I'm gonna not concentrate on all the shit things about it, like idiots from that I used to go to school with getting tickets. But I'm gonna concentrate on enjoying it. And the day of the reunion, the Tuesday that everything was announced, I spent it at the Oliver Cromwell Museum in Lincolnshire, and funny little place. Volunteers, just 2 blokes. Do you know much about Oliver Cromwell? No, but please don't breathe near me. They were nice guys, but they were very into Oliver Cromwell.
Oh, I love talking to the guys.
Very, very. I do and I don't. I get quite nervous of people. I'm quite,
They hate it when you know something they thought you didn't know.
Don't, I know.
When I said that, when I mentioned that I knew that cedarwood was used to line things to keep moths away, because I was like, it was a bit like camphor in that thing. And he was like, well, they actually used to line things with cedarwood to keep the moths away. But I suppose you don't know that. And I was like, So weird because I have just said it, and I was like, no, I do know that. And he's like, oh, you did just say, and I'm like, yeah.
It's like that old.
It was great.
That Fast Show sketch where the woman would say, "This is what I need to do," and then someone would repeat it. What was my point? I can't remember. Anyway, it was a very good museum, and it was free. Did you know Oliver Cromwell? Despite what people said about him, he actually had a very good sense of humour. Enjoyed a practical joke.
That is not the same thing, but we haven't got time to get into that. Enjoying a practical joke and having a good sense of humour are two different things.
Yeah, but I love a practical joke.
No, you don't. Okay, well, marry one of those absolute fucking cockends then, who thinks it's funny to perennially jump out on his wife, as if what she's doing isn't a fight or flight response to all the murders. Fucking hell.
Now, I don't like that, but I like I've told you about things that I put like little key rings on Tim's key rings and
that's
little
really
things
funny.
like that.
Ruining Tim's life.
Yeah,
funny.
little things like that are funny. Anyway, we must get on.
So he gets married. It's 1976. He gets married to Anne. They marry and they move to Skelmersdale. They have 2 children. Michael is the eldest and Tracy is the youngest.
Mike and Tracy.
Very sort of 1970s names, those. Now, his dad wasn't very present, Michael says. Basically, as soon as Michael was born, he went off on like a 3-day bender drinking with his friends.
He's wetting the baby's head.
But that's so bad, isn't it? To like ostensibly celebrate this, the arrival of the baby. He becomes completely absent. So the marriage was a tricky one, shall we say. They divorced very quickly. They divorced in 1979, year that my middle brother was born. But they kept in each other's lives. Obviously, he's the father of the children. He moves away, basically, because he started to have these very violent mood swings, and the family were really struggling. Michael, the kid, does go on to say, I think my mum worked really hard to protect us from any of it, because we kind of had no idea this stuff was going on, but she was dealing with him being a very unpredictable guy.
Yes.
So he, basically one night, she's like, pack your things, kids, nothing to see here. And they go, in the middle of the night, they do a midnight flit to Northampton. Apparently Michael says he wasn't violent or anything towards him or his sister that he's aware of.
Okay.
But he says, I remember there being this story about him throwing a brick through the window of the house and it hitting our pet turtles, which is awful. I
think that's the first time, like, a murderer's thrown a brick through his own window.
Yeah. It's
a bloody murderer lives there.
Daubing pedo on the front of his own house.
Also, turtles are a very 70s, 80s.
It is, isn't it? Although in Kingston Lacey, the guy was obsessed with turtles, so there's little turtles everywhere. There's like a little footstool, and they're on the sort of chandeliers and things.
Nice touch.
It's a lovely touch, and I thought, you know what? Very genteel. It's not shouted about very often, a turtle, and I think they're very genteel tortoise.
I've got a turtle there in the bathroom, a little one hanging on the...
You have the sea turtle. They're massive.
Christmas decoration.
They're like a car with a head sticking out the end. They're weird.
I think I quite like them.
Some of them are really snappy. Is it leatherbacks? They're really snappy.
I mean, they're the most endangered creatures on the planet, aren't they?
I could
live without them.
I went to God, they love a plastic bag, those lads, don't they? I went to, but they work in a charity shop. That's how much they love plastic bags. When we went to Sri Lanka, a hospital for turtles, because they often get injured, and this hospital builds them prosthetic limbs that they can use. It's really amazing.
Fucking hell, a turtle in Sri Lanka can get a doctor's appointment faster than you can here. So they make them little limbs?
They make them little limbs, and so sometimes they're very small, so they have to keep making them bigger so they grow with them.
But is it worth it? I mean, it's a lot of fucking effort, isn't it?
And the other thing they do is, because turtles bury their eggs on the beach, and then the local fishermen will get them to sell them, or they'll eat them. And so what they do is they pay a bit more than they would get for selling them, and then they have an incubation thing, and so they hatch and they take them to the sea.
Do you know, my Auntie Trish, this is her main ick in life. It's turtles laying eggs.
Really?
Yeah. She's
a weirdly niche thing.
She is like, I cannot, if that is on a documentary, I will leave the room. I don't want anything to do with it. I think it's disgusting.
What? Is it just turtles?
Just turtles laying eggs. She thinks it's the most disgusting thing.
That's so strange.
Also, it's so funny, my Auntie Trish, who is amazing, she's like 80-something now, but her picture on WhatsApp It's Planet of the Apes. She's obsessed with Planet of the Apes.
so-
It's one of the. I've never seen it. It's one of the monkeys on horseback with a gun.
Oh yeah, Caesar.
That's her. What's
It's
that bitch?
absolutely mad. Love it.
Is it any wonder that I'm the way I am?
So there's this story about the brick through the window. Now, oh yeah, so he was like, okay, the brick was thrown through the window, and then he broke into our house and was hiding there. What actually happened is this. Anne is over at the next door neighbour's house, sitting watching telly together, which I absolutely love. I love the thought of that. Not my neighbours that live half a mile away, but so she's sitting. This is in Ormskirk. They hear weird banging next door, so she phones the police. The police come over. They're checking the house because they think it's being burgled. They go into Anne's bedroom. John Sweeney jumps out of the wardrobe he's been hiding. He has an axe in one hand
Oh my God.
and he has a hammer in the other one. And he is like a violent dude. So he's arrested. So it's horrific. And also it's one of those things that, like, just as I said, as I get older, so many fucking absolutely unhinged people that my friends have ended up marrying or settling down or having a child with. And I'm like, oh no, this really unwell person is now in our lives forever. But anyway.
Oh, we've got to deal with him now, have we?
Yeah.
We've all got to pretend now, have we?
yeah, pretend that we don't absolutely fucking hate
Let's
him.
pretend that he's fine.
I'm a fucker as well for when someone's separating, being like, they're awful. I'm so glad that you're. And then, of course, they get back with
Yeah,
them.
well, they do. But look, I just think we need to be make our feelings clear a bit more.
Do you think?
Sometimes. Yeah, I mean, the amount of times you get bad vibes off somebody, I think sometimes maybe we just need to say, look, I'm getting bad vibes, but as long as you're happy.
I am sort of on the fence of whether I did the right thing with a friend. She basically phoned me up and, they had a kid together and it was very recent, and she was like, oh, he's really struggling and things. And I knew him to be a liar of a quite a grand scale. And she was sort of kind of try and be really compassionate and make excuses. And like, she said, oh, I think it's been really hard for him since the baby's come along because the baby gets all the attention. Yeah. And I think that is what made me snap. And I was like, yeah, but also he is a liar. I know him to lie about this, and this. Anyway, it's all come out.
I'm jealous of the baby. I don't like the baby.
I want to be sucking your titties. I want you to change my nappy.
Your body belongs to me.
Anyway, so I wish I had said something, but I also don't think she would have believed me at the time.
No, well, that's the problem, isn't it?
So she tries it again and he goes, I'm a changed man. He does all this pleads, I'm a changed man, take me back, please, I'll kill myself. Very usual sort of abusive tricks.
Yeah.
So they get back together, and 2 years after getting divorced, they remarry.
Wow.
Now, they'd only been married about a year, and then she was like, yeah. In 1982, she goes to the police and goes, he's threatening me again. I don't feel safe. So they separate, and it's acrimonious. Now, Michael, his son, remembers his dad showing him a picture. His dad was a bit of an artist. He showed him a picture of a coffin with someone in it, and he looked at the picture. Michael's only a kid at the time, and he goes, is that mum?
Oh my God.
And he was like, it was so lifelike. It was like a photograph of her. I'm not sure I agree with that because I've seen some of the pictures. But, and then next to it said R.I.P. Anne. So it's like, well, there's quite a big clue, yeah. And then he was like, is that mum you've drawn like that? And he went, yeah. And then he went in sort of a mood. And poor Michael was like, yeah, I just thought this is like normal when people hate each other and they get divorced. This kind of stuff is not, because of course you're a kid. You don't know it's not normal for a dad to hand a hand-drawn picture of your mum having been murdered.
Well, it's like when you're a kid and then, you can make friends and then you go and stay at someone else's house and you think, I think you start to go, God, other people are weird, aren't they?
Yeah.
You stay at someone's house and you're like,
or the smell of people's houses. Everything like that's different. Although what I did is I go to other people's houses and I'd be like, I'm weird. Our family are weird.
Yeah, I used to think that. Also, this is so weird. And this is quite a mature thing that I used to think. So before social media, I genuinely used to believe that everyone was in bed for like 10 or 11 o'clock. Like if they weren't out, they were in bed. Like I just thought everyone was in bed.
What do you mean?
Well, like people stay up late till like 2, 3 in the morning.
Yeah.
Like I've never done that. And I've never sit downstairs and watch TV or whatever till 2, 3 in the morning. But I used to think, and like when you see things on social media now, because like people post things late at night or early in the morning or stuff like that, and I used to think that before all of like Twitter, Facebook, whatever, I used to think, oh, it's 11 o'clock. If people aren't out and about or at work, they'll be asleep now or they'll be in bed.
I think you're probably right, but because I don't really go to bed before 1. But I think people with normal jobs would have to, or children. You are in bed by 10, right?
So I don't remember ever having a set bedtime when I was a kid.
Oh, I do, because I remember lying there being like, because there were never any curtains in my house growing up, because we don't have neighbours. And I'd be like, you go to bed and you're like, it's broad fucking daylight, guys.
Yeah.
And you'd be trying your best to sleep, but you'd be like, the sun is high in the sky.
I kind of remember sort of occasions like that, but I don't ever remember being, I think a lot of the time I used to fall asleep downstairs and just get carried to bed.
Oh, I love
like the
that
little
feeling.
king that I am.
I love that thing. There was a story, sorry to quote a meme, like an old woman, but...
No, don't say that.
What?
I'm knocking this on the head whenever I hear it now.
What?
Women.
Meme?
Women saying, but I'm just an old woman. You're not. You're 30 odd.
Oh, no. I mean, like, people are like, I saw the meme the other day.
No, I'm knocking all of this on the head because I keep hearing it all the time. Like, I was watching a comedian the other day, a woman, and she kept going, but I'm just so old now. I'm like, no, you're not. What are you talking about?
I love it when I see a newer comic and they're like, yes, I'm getting on now, I'm 23, and I'm like, shut up.
Off. Yeah, I honestly, I think we need to stop it, especially women. We need to stop going, oh, but I'm just so old now. Like, what do I know? I'm just like, oh, God, I'm just talking like such a nana. What are you on about? Stop using these terms.
Maybe I wasn't being accurate. I find it embarrassing that I'm quoting a meme. That's what I wanted to make clear.
Well, there are some good ones.
Okay, well, this is one of them that said, actually, it was quite... that when you fall asleep downstairs and you wake up when your parents are carrying you upstairs, and they were like, I like to think that like that's what, when you're passing away, that's what it feels like.
Oh,
and there's and there's a party still going on, and so when you're dying, you're like, oh, okay, I'm leaving the party, but I'm all like safe.
That's fucking dark for a meme, innit?
Yeah, maybe it wasn't a meme. Maybe I don't know what a meme is because I'm so young. Anyway.
Oh my God, I'm so young. I don't even remember memes.
What's a meme?
Yeah, I wasn't even born then. Oh my God.
Anne gets remarried.
Good.
Yes, but he would occasionally still rock up at the house, John, and he'd take the kids away and he'd push a trolley around and be like, fill it with toys, and he'd buy them loads of toys, but he wasn't there. He was just sort of like throwing money at the problem, essentially.
Yep.
Now, actually, Michael met 2 of his victims. So he met Melissa in 1989.
Yes.
Let's go on to talk about the victims, and I'll pick this up in a minute.
So he moves to London and he meets Melissa Halstead. She's from Ohio. She was 33 years old.
Have you seen pictures of her?
Oh, yeah, lovely.
I was researching about her life. I've got quite a lot about her, actually. And my partner was like, why are you looking at pictures of Taylor Swift? And I was like, well, I'm not. I'm researching this. So I was like, yes, she is. She's very pretty. She's very beautiful. And I was like, but in the many years that you have known me, am I the kind of person who would sit there casually on a laptop scrolling and looking at pictures of Taylor Swift? What do you think about that? And he's like, oh yeah.
You never said you were a Swiftie. You never said. So Melissa, yes, she was 33 years old, a model, photographer, and beautician. They were living in Chelsea at the time. I imagine at the time Chelsea wasn't. Maybe it was a bit.
Well, a lot of these places now you couldn't afford to live, like Camden and
Notting Hill, etc. Walthamstow, where I am. Their relationship was said to be fueled by drink and drugs, and Sweeney eventually had convictions for assaulting her.
Yes, I mean, there had been a history of domestic violence in Anne's relationship. He also claims, John Sweeney, that he was beaten as a child. He was a victim of domestic violence as well, and it doesn't, it wouldn't be a huge jump of someone of his age for it to be quite common to there be sort of violence in the household. Melissa meets the kids, and so basically he goes back to Skelmersdale with Melissa and is sort of meeting the family and Anne, and she goes to Anne. Melissa says, oh my God, would you mind if we got married? And was like completely besotted with this guy. And she's like, no, you fill your boots, you
go for it, mate.
So about this time as well, Michael turns 18 and he does a runner down to London to sort of start his life anew. Michael's gay. He never tells his dad that. He was like, I was really scared about how he might react. But so he turns up in London, knocks at his door, and goes, "Hey, Dad, I'm living in London. I want to get to know you more." And his dad's like, "All right," and then doesn't really see him for the next few years. Yeah, and he says, "I never feel like I properly got to know him." But the house that he was living in,
I'll be honest, I don't think you were missing much, love.
he was living in a ground floor flat at the time. And he goes in and he says, "I remember the flat being weird because there was like piles of cushions over anything electrical." And he blamed it on his girlfriend. He was like, "Oh, she thinks, you know, the electrical waves are doing something. And so she's afraid of them." And that's Delia.
Oh, the second girl
Yeah.
was a nurse.
Yeah. So, but we were talking about this before. You think that's bullshit, don't you? You think it's him?
Yeah, I think it's him.
Yeah.
I think it's
blaming
him.
on her.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a very, yeah, I mean, that's peculiar, that, isn't it?
It is.
Have I told you my ex-boyfriend, who was Australian, when he moved to the UK, he moved all the furniture away from the radiators because he thought it'd set the furniture on fire.
Doesn't have fire regulations in
He
Australia.
didn't have radiators at all. So
Oh, really?
he was like, I was like, "Oh, I better move this away from the radiator because it's going to set it on fire."
I mean, all it will do is just make that thing warm and not the room. But
He said then someone came around and was like, "Why is all the furniture
in the middle of the
in the
room,
middle of the room?" And he's
like
like,
a seance.
"I thought I had to move it all away from the radiators."
So he's with Melissa for about a year, and that is when, well, certainly the first charge of domestic violence comes against him.
Yes.
But that's not to say it wasn't happening before that. So
I'd put money on that it was.
Yeah, he was fined for this, and that's a real deterrent. And then they up and moved to Austria. Then he was jailed there for attacking her.
Well, she had to move to Austria because she was deported for overstaying a visa in
Yeah.
the UK. So she went to Austria, and he
follows
followed
her. Yeah.
But see, I find it insane that people find out where people live.
If you have a very beautiful, you know, when people move, they don't go to the countryside. They go to one of the big cities. So go, where's the cheapest flight? Okay, she's probably in, you know, Vienna or whatever. And, okay, have you seen a tall, good-looking American girl? Here's a photo of her. I think it would be very easy to find someone.
God, you've got a stalker in you.
Hello. Oh, my God. Of course, of
You could
course.
do it.
I can find an ex-partner. Actually, there's one I can't find. At the drop of a hat.
Do you know, there's one person I went to school with that I'm so curious whatever happened to her. And I can't find her on she's not on any social media. Good for her, may I say. Not on any social media, not on anything.
She's a spy, mate.
Nobody can remember, like, no one's seen her since school. And all I've got is this memory in my head of her walking around with a hockey stick. I don't even think she played hockey. But never seen her since the day we left school. Anyway, he breaks into her flat and he ties up her housemate because he's searching for evidence of Melissa having a new boyfriend.
Oh, my God.
Now, so he's tied up the housemate and he's like, "I want evidence that I know she's seen someone else," right? Now, Melissa comes back and he attacks her with a claw hammer and fractures her skull. Now, he's obviously arrested. He described the incident to police as an emotional act. Melissa asks for leniency for him.
But that's abuse, isn't
Yes,
it?
of course, yeah. And her sister said that Sweeney had cried and begged her and said, "I'll promise to leave you alone if you ask for leniency for me." And he got a suspended sentence and a 10-year deportation order. But they got back together and moved to Amsterdam.
Yeah.
But it is abuse, of course it is. And Melissa had said to her sister, "If I ever disappear, it's because John Sweeney has killed me." And she said that he said that nobody will ever find her body.
Now, Melissa's family lose contact with her. They're still in America. Basically, shortly after she was deported, they kind of don't get an address for her, and she's moving around quite a lot. He murders Melissa in April of 1990, and it's very awful what he does to her. He makes sketches of her body as well, which is how they think there's more. Mm-hmm. So he basically dismembers her and puts parts of Melissa in a duffel bag. And then he travels from Amsterdam, where they were living at the time, to Rotterdam. And then he drops it in the Westersingle, sorry if I'm saying that wrong, canal near Rotterdam. I don't know why. For me, there's something worse about being dumped in a canal.
Yeah.
I don't know what, like a river, still awful.
Throw me in the sea.
Sea,
At least I'll, go back to nature.
yeah, but
What
like
am I going to do in a canal? Get caught on a bike,
it's awful in like
trapped under a trolley.
yeah, me and the trolleys and the tires down there and the cats, awful.
Horrendous. Although, do you know, I was in wherever the fuck I was the other day doing a gig, and I was there early, so I was killing time. And I was sat in a Costa Coffee, not for me, and it was next to a canal, but the canal had a current in it. My God, I've never had so much fun watching ducks doing 30 miles an hour. It was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my life. It was so good. They were, honestly, they were spinning round. They were going that quick. It was so fucking funny. And I sat there for about an hour. I must have about 50 videos on my phone watching these ducks.
I'm going to watch that in a
Oh
bit.
my God, it was great. Great. But in general, canals are disgusting.
Yes.
It's like when people go on canal holidays, I'm like, because I'm from Manchester, I associate canals with grimness and dirt and, like in the years before they were actually tarted up, I can remember.
Also they're industrial
Exactly,
tracts, aren't they? They're not natural.
Like I can remember Radcliffe, the canal, like just being dirty and the rivers were dirty, like everything was horrible. And now it's all been cleaned up a bit. But I just think when people go on canal boat holidays, I'm like, why would you want to do that? Oh, great, let's pootle through to Birmingham. Nothing against Birmingham, but I just can't imagine. And I tell you what, I do love in Birmingham, that Aussie the Bull that they've got in the train station. Have you seen it?
Oh yeah.
Oh my God, it's so good. Do you not like it?
It is fine.
I think it's so cool. Do you know? I love it.
I like the centre of Birmingham generally.
Yeah, I think Birmingham was really good, but I love that Aussie the Bull. It's fucking cool. It's a big iron bull and it moves and its eyes move.
He murders Melissa and dumps her body in the canal. He returns to England shortly afterwards. He immediately gets into another abusive relationship.
With Delia Balmer.
This is the one who had the pillows over the phones.
He met her in the Hawley Arms in Camden. Fans of Baby Reindeer?
Yes, fans of Baby Reindeer. Or Amy Winehouse as well. Hawley Arms. Hawley Arms has popped up in another one of, is it Colin Island or something? But Hawley Arms is a weird kind of hub for a lot of things that happen.
Never been in.
It's just like tucked out of the way by the market as well. It's not on like the main bit. I don't know why so many people sort of frequent there, but yeah.
Now, she said that he was very bohemian. Said he was very nice.
I think he had a neckerchief.
Oh yeah, that's it.
That'll do it.
A neckerchief and a sheepskin coat. That'll do.
Like a Jack Russell.
Yeah. She said he tended to stutter as well, which is quite interesting. Have I mentioned this before? My granddad had a stutter.
Yeah, you mentioned that.
But only when he got angry or nervous. But that was because his dad used to absolutely batter him when he was a kid. So he developed a stutter as a child.
Oh, so like adrenaline.
So yeah, and I think I mentioned it. And so Noel Gallagher used to have a stutter as a child because his dad used to batter him. Yeah. So yeah, my granddad used to have this. If he sort of, if he was annoyed or upset about anything, the stutter would come back.
I stutter when I'm tired, which is why I can't. It's why I would never like get pissed up in Edinburgh, because if I'm tired, I'll be and then I can't do my job.
She's having a tough friend.
The stutter's back.
Oh, guess who I saw the other day and she was stuttering?
He moved back, but shortly afterwards, so he dumps Melissa's body in April, and then in May her body resurfaces. Now they try and find out who it is, but they can't, so they inter the body. Now, her family did report her missing to Dutch authorities. They didn't know where she was living. They thought maybe she was in Amsterdam, but they didn't know. And they didn't actually know how to find her. So they were like, okay, we'll add this to the list of many other missing people. Now, Rotterdam, where her body was dumped, is in a different jurisdiction. So they didn't put two and two together, because they also just have an unidentified torso, basically. Now, her remains were found in 1990, but she wasn't formally identified until 2008.
Well, they never found her head or her hands.
No, which is, I think, a deliberate part on his to just obfuscate, is it? To make her harder to identify. And it is actually DNA from some of her family in Ohio that matched it in 2008.
I know.
It's a long time.
He's with Delia.
Months later.
Months later. She's a
91.
nurse, as I've mentioned. Now, they move in quite rapidly, and of course, he becomes controlling. He starts taking her money. This is weird. Delia says that he has a jar that he filled with live crickets, and he used tweezers to pull the legs off them. And he was like, "Oh, they'll be all right. They
Do a jigsaw.
yeah, exactly. They can live." He's like, "Why you do them? They can live with the." Well, it's all coming out now. Stops the killing. It's lovely. Tweezers. Right. He said, "Oh, they can live without legs." It's like, well, I think they'd rather not. You know.
Yeah.
I just think anybody who can. I can't hurt anything. You know, like even a fly.
I don't like it when people hoover up spiders, like anything like that.
Cruel. No need. Tim sent me a meme the other day, and it was like a Native American sort of drawing, you know, and it was all animals and wolves and all that kind of stuff. And it said me when I let a fly out of the window. That is me. It's me. I can't bear it. Like, I will spend half an hour allowing a fly to leave.
Yeah.
Rather than you just feel so bad. I couldn't do it.
I don't know.
I do still eat meat, but what are you going to do? I'm not perfect.
I do. I don't know if this is peculiar to me, but at this time of year, in one room in particular, but basically the room as you walk into my house, you know, with a big table, and then the living room, there is a collection of between 3 and 45 flies in the middle of the room, and I cannot explain why,
Okay.
and they're absolutely disgusting.
So what I've noticed is, I think this is in the countryside. So Tim's family live in rural Lincolnshire, and there's a load of flies just bobbing around.
In the middle of the room.
Yeah.
Around the light, but the light's not on.
Yeah, I know exactly what you mean, concentrated in one area.
It is.
What is it?
So strange. And
You've got a demon, that's what it is.
it's a demon. It's a demon. The demon's back.
The demon, it is demon time of year. Actually, it's demon season.
But like my brother and my partner are like, oh, I'm gonna get some fly spray, and I'm like, no, you're not, because it's like attacks their like central nervous system. And then my brother's like, I'm gonna get you those strips that are sticky. I was like, absolutely not.
See, I did use those, and I can't. I just feel so.
They
cruel.
look horrific
It's cruel.
as well. It's
Yeah,
like
I know.
it's awful. It's absolute. And what a terrible way to go, being like your
know.
feet stuck there.
I know. I did have
Spray
some
and
of those.
gold at Christmas there.
Yeah, that's it. The spray and gold at Christmas. I did have some sticky strips, but listen, I'm not doing that anymore. I'd rather just, you know.
Although I will do it with moths because they're little cunts.
Do you know what? I have to say, I do it for moth trap. But we mentioned this before. It's a hormone one, isn't it?
Yeah,
so they're like,
very
well,
much.
hello.
Yeah. Yeah, and exactly. If you can't control yourself, you deserve to die. Speaking of.
Now, Delia did want him gone. She
Yes,
wanted him
of
gone.
course.
But the police were not much help.
Shocking. Well, if they're dog shit now, which I know them to be, why would they be capable in 1993?
Yes.
He became absolutely obsessed with. I hate this kind of abuse where policing ex-partners of someone. So this is about 1983. He pulls out this picture. He sneaks into Delia's flat and then like starts interrogating her. Pulls out this photograph. Well, she's just in it with a man that he'd met in Leicester. She met in Leicester Square at some point. And he was like, "Who's that?" And she's like, "I don't know. I met him that night and I've never seen him again." And he's going crazy and he's screaming at her and just talking absolute shit. He's got a gun and a knife.
Oh my God.
And then he goes, "I suppose you're wondering what happened to my American girlfriend, Melissa." And she's like, "Absolutely not. I don't want to know anything." And she's like, "Why is he bringing her up?" And he said, "Well, when I was in Amsterdam, I caught her having sex with 2 German guys.
Oh.
I killed them all. I was in the room with them for 3 days while I worked out what was going on and what I was going to do. And then I dumped their bodies." And she's like, "Okay." And so she's just obviously terrified. And he's like, "Yeah, I cut the bodies up, I put them in bags, and I just threw them in the canal." And she was like, she's written a book, and she was like, "That's when I knew I'm living with a serial killer."
Well, he keeps her then in the flat for a while.
Yeah,
He's
it's
tied her
awful.
up. He threatens to cut her tongue off. And I mean, I think he definitely obviously killed his American girlfriend.
Yeah, he killed.
He didn't kill 2 men as well.
I don't
just
know.
think.
Oh, well, I think that's part of the folklore, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think I don't think he walked in on them having sex.
Well, because he's got to be the victim in the scenario.
Exactly, yeah. And also the hero. Like, I was able to kill three people. I mean, while she's being held prisoner in her flat, he puts a gun to her head. He's absolutely terrifying.
So a concerned friend wonders where Delia is, and she alerts the police. And he'd been keeping a hostage for the weekend.
Yeah, awful.
And the
So
police
for the weekend.
Oh, what are you doing this weekend?
Go to a national trust. Don't take anyone hostage, you fucking nutter.
When the police...
Problematic language, sorry.
What?
I said he was a fucking nutter.
Oh, well, he is. Come on, look, sometimes if we use the term nutter, I think we're not, describing any... He's a fucking nutter. When the police arrived, they found him. He had a rucksack full of plastic sacks, waterproof clothing, rubber gloves, rolls of tape, string, rope, sponge, salt. Everything.
Maybe he's making a water slide.
Everything that would have disposed of Delia's body.
That is so chilling.
He explained this away by saying, well, I'm a carpenter.
Always need salt.
Righto. Which says to me that you can see carpentry is a dying trade, that everyone just accepted it. All right, okay, no worries, mate. Now, he was granted bail a month later. And what does he do? He heads straight to Delia's flat.
Of course, because they do. They do.
Yeah.
Like, this is also... I don't know how, at this point, you've got thousands of years of people being abusive. I'm saying people, I think we know what gender I'm referring to. People being abusive, following the same patterns, almost like it's a script. And yet the police are surprised when they go and do the same thing that they do every single fucking time. So it's just before Christmas, isn't it?
22nd of December.
Yeah, so 1994. She gets home, she'd been working as a nurse, as if she's not having it hard enough, right? So it's Christmas, a nurse.
Yeah.
Imagine all the old people you're having to, like, say goodbye to and watch their family lose them before Christmas.
All right, mate, stop it.
Have yourself a merry... So she gets home. He's waiting for her with an axe. He attacks her. And he pulls out this rusty knife as well. They have a big fight in a stairwell as well to her apartment, which the whole as soon as I read stairwell, I was like, well, that stinks of piss.
Yeah.
And imagine being like, this is how I'm going to die in a stairwell that is cold.
Smelling of piss.
It stinks of piss and I've just done a night shift.
Yeah.
Poor fucking woman. So he stabs her in the tit, in the thigh, and he cuts off one of her fingers.
Little finger.
On her left hand.
Yeah.
So he says to her, if you scream, I will cut your tongue out of your mouth. So they're having like this tussle. He does a runner because he's injured as well. And
well, a neighbour hears it. This male neighbour
I didn't
hears it.
realise.
He comes out with a baseball bat.
yes,
And
that's what you need.
Hits him with it. Good. Now, the serious crime squad attended, but he'd done a runner. He'd gone. And he was on the run for 6 years.
Mad.
Using disguises and aliases.
Do you know he disguises the wigs? I can just imagine it. Now what he does actually is he goes straight up to Skelmersdale.
Ah.
So that's how he does the run. This is
Plain
at Christmas.
sight.
Yeah. Apparently Michael says he's smoking absolutely loads of weed at this point and be like, if you're on the run, you've probably got to try and take the edge off. Also, he's been in Amsterdam. So he turns up on the doorstep. He's got a hole in his hand, like a stigmata.
Merry Christmas.
It goes all the way through. The kids are like, oh no, Dad's back with his stigmata. Excuse me.
Dad's back, and it turns out he's Jesus Christ, he's a carpenter, and he's got stigmata.
That's the true gift of Christmas. So it's just a weird presence around the place. It's like, can I stay for Christmas? And
Not really, no.
yeah, well, Anne's like, fine. So everyone's like, this guy is wired and weird and bleeding from the hand. The neighbour patches it up. Fair play for Anne not doing that. And he started going, yeah, I've done things that would make your hair stand on end. And they're like, we're trying to watch Noel's house party here. Can you just turn it in?
Exactly, yeah.
No, Michael says, he stayed in my room with me that night. And he said, I was so scared of him. He didn't talk to me, but all I could think about was this wound on his hand in the room. You know, just being really aware that, like,
God.
my dad's there, this weird, scary guy with a hole in his hand.
Oh, God.
Blah. Now, the next day, he goes, oh, I'm just going to get a lift. So he hitches a lift to Liverpool, and then he absolutely disappears. And the police turn up and say, have you seen this guy? And they were like, yeah, he was here last night. And they were like, right, well, he's on the run because he's tried to kill a woman. And that at that point they fit a panic button onto Anne's house if he's ever to arrive. That they're to hit that basically. Now he's not tracked down until 2001
because another woman dies. So 15th of December 2000, the body of a woman called Paula Fields was found in Regent's Canal. It was in 6 bags with bricks, and the head was missing and the feet were missing. Now, Paula was from Liverpool. She'd moved to London. Her children had been taken into care. She had a very chaotic life. It was sex work and she was drug addicted. And she obviously came across him at some point. And one of his aliases was Scouse Joe.
Yeah.
Paula met him in Highbury. And on December the 13th, 2000, a neighbour heard shouting. And this was the night of Paula's disappearance. And they heard shouting and a bit of, something going on. And Sweeney moved house soon after this. And then, obviously, on the 15th of December, her body was found. Now, in 2001, Sweeney is arrested. He's working on a building site. He had a gun in his carpentry box.
Perfectly normal stuff there.
That was at his bedsit. Now, they found firearms, ammunition. There was a brown wig. I know. Look,
Hey, it's not illegal to want to look nice, Rachel.
Some wigs are a crime. There was a garrote, various other things, which they said they think that was a murder kit. There was also a box full of information about his life on the run. There was violent drawings and poems found depicting violence against women and even mentioning Melissa being chopped up. Now, he was convicted of Delia's attempted murder in November 2001. Now, he suggested that Paula might have been killed by Anthony Hardy, the Camden Ripper. Which, no. I mean, I can't believe these two horrible men were in the same area.
There was loads going on in London around that time. Like around the 90s, it was a real hot spot.
Yeah.
There'll definitely be more we don't know about.
In April 2010, he was charged with Melissa and Paula's murders. And there are other women linked to him as well. There's 3 other women that they know of. A Brazilian woman called Urani, who lived in North London in the 90s. A Colombian woman called Maria, who lived in Finsbury Park in 1997 and 1998. And another woman named Sue from Derbyshire, who attended a nursing college in North London. And Dutch police are also
all we know is
investigating.
she's described as a churchgoer.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because the others, it's like, always, there's a Brazilian woman called Urani in the mid-40s, like, Sue's a churchgoer from Derby.
Yeah,
that's all you need to know about that.
Dutch police are investigating the claim that he also killed 2 men.
That's the 2 Germans that were allegedly having sex. Now, at the trial, I'll rattle through this, Rachel.
Please, thank you.
We should talk about the illustrations, because do you know what they remind me of? You know the sort of Beatles style of illustration, lots of the artwork around the Beatles. It's really similar to that. It's psychedelic, lots of collages, even the drawing style, how the faces are
like the stuff in the Beatles lyric book, the purple
exactly,
one.
exactly that. I love that book.
It's a lovely book.
It's a very good book, isn't it? There's this one where there is a bit of Tipp-Ex, and they sort of like X-rayed it, and underneath that's where it had Melissa's date of birth and the murder. It was a little gravestone that he Tipp-Exed. No, what was it? It was a little speech bubble, and it was on there. The gravestone was from the hand drawing. Now he goes to trial. The prosecutor was Brian Altman, QC, and he said police discovered amongst his possessions often lurid and demonic sketches painted, as well as pages of verse which reveal an obsession and virulent hatred of women and a preoccupation with dismemberment.
I think we should just, ban poetry.
Just in case, just as a preventative measure.
Actually, when I came out of the theatre the other day, I was so irritated. I was like, do you know what? I don't want to sound like a Puritan. Let's fucking ban theatre.
He says, it is a picture of a hateful, controlling and possessive man, prone to outbursts of rage and murderous feelings. Genuinely, that could describe about 8 men that my friends have
Off
been
the top here.
or are in relationships with.
Hey, listen, there's off camera, remind me to tell you about the person I've got bad vibes about.
Love this. He's currently serving a whole life sentence without parole for murdering and dismembering women, obviously, in England and in the Netherlands. Could I yawn? I'm not bored.
She's not been well.
I've not been well.
I have to say though, this whatever this is, because I've had it as well.
Won't
it
fucking
completely
go.
knocks you out. You think you're well, and then all of a sudden you go, oh. don't you? It's
Yeah.
really...
I felt it when I was first day in Sweden. I was like, oh, for fuck's sake. And I really felt like shit when I was going over there.
Get yourself some meatballs, mate. That'll sort you out.
I loved the food in Sweden. I went to Lund, the comedy festival. It is fantastic.
Ooh, was it good?
Oh,
Audience is good?
audiences was great. They love to clap instead of laugh. But once you get used to that, you're like, oh, okay, this is how I know the gig's going well. And they were very sweet. The festival really look after you. The hotel was amazing. Lund itself, honestly, if you're going to go, it's so cute. There's a beautiful cathedral. There's the food is unbelievable. Yeah, you just like, oh, Britain, butt your fucking ideas up. Like the food was so delicious, and it's really close to. You fly into Copenhagen and just get the train. It takes 40 minutes. And you go through Malmo as well, so you can make a whole weekend of it. I recommend it.
Do you know? I was talking to Red Richardson yesterday. Very funny act, lovely guy, and he was saying he's just been to America to do some tour dates. And he's like, I can't believe how well they look after you. This is everywhere apart from Britain really looks after you as a comedian.
Yeah.
In Britain, it's like, get in there. What, you want a drink of water, do you?
Yeah.
Don't think
It says
so.
on your rider you want water.
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, that's the only thing. If there's, I can take it. Yo, you can't drink it from the tap. Okay, well, that's not my fucking fault,
And if
is
we
it?
bring you bottles, we will be charging you.
Yeah.
All right, okay.
Well, I was speaking to my friend who tours. He's like a tour manager internationally, like all over the world. And he was like, have you done any European dates yet? And I said, oh, no, I'm going to London. He was like, night and day how the staff will talk to you and treat you.
Yeah.
Whereas they're like, thank you so much for coming, and how can we... And I got your tech ride, I've already set it up, as opposed to quite often, I would say I've been very lucky with venues on tour, but they'll be like, what the fuck do you want? You're like, well, my face is on the poster, so I think I'm going to try and do a fucking show.
I just don't understand that. In fact, it kind of puts you off doing it again, I would say. The way that you sort of met by this sort of, you know, wall of, not aggression, like...
Best case, apathy.
Apathy and unwillingness to
Yeah.
just do simple things. It's not even like we're bloody divas, you know?
Yeah, or when you're like, oh, is it all right if we have a spotlight? And they're like, well, I'd have to adjust the light. And you're like, okay.
No, we council run. We can't have lights.
Yeah, we can't put a ladder up.
What are you going to tell me?
I was going to say, I have a bit in my show where I talk about first aid, and I say first aid is like tit wanks, and I've got a joke about that. What a way to find out that they don't have tit wanks in Sweden.
Oh, really?
To play to absolute silence. But I said the other day on stage that part of me was like, look at Britain being very modern with the tit wanks. Finally, something we can export. So... He was sentenced in 2011, which feels so late if you think about when these crimes happened. He refused to leave his cell at Belmarsh to hear his sentence.
I mean...
Again, it's control, isn't it? It's control. Yeah. Now, judge...
Actually, it's cowardice as well.
Yeah. Yeah, well, I think that my fucking nonce headmaster... If you've seen that headmaster in the news...
There was a documentary.
Yes, there is. There's something else going on at the moment. There's an absolute prat, capital P, double T. One of the things I hated is like, he's like, no comment, you know, just keeping that like control. Anyway, so he's sentenced by Mr. Justice Saunders. He gave him a whole life term. He said, I think this is appropriate considering these exceptional circumstances. He says these are terrible, wicked crimes. The heads of the victims having been removed, it is impossible to be certain how they were killed. Oh. The mutilation of the bodies is a serious, aggravating feature of the murders. Not only does it reveal the cold-blooded nature of the killer, but it's added greatly to the distress of the families to know that parts of their loved ones have never been recovered. And Delia, who wrote this book, said it's another form of control. Only he knows where the missing body parts are. And when we were in Germany in 1993, he told me that he'd stuck a terranium with his dead pet tarantula inside a brick wall at a building site where he'd been working. So if someone knocks it down one day, they'll be like, what's that? And she said, I think he's been doing the same thing with missing body parts of victims.
God.
So she thinks they're hidden in walls around sites that he's worked on. And you know, especially in the 90s, like you didn't have to register on a site. It's very transient. You could work there for a few days and then
he's
go.
Using aliases anyway.
Exactly. So he also said that he had 30 to 40 relationships with women across the continent while he was in, you know, Europe. So they think that he has killed a lot more. Also, the sketches depict sort of dismemberment and violent crimes towards other women.
He's absolutely
killed more than 2 people.
Yeah.
And he would have killed Dealey if he was, you know, on a if that guy hadn't come out with a baseball bat.
Basketball, that's a different...
Come on. Let's shoot some hoops.
Think you're a
That's all
tough
I
guy,
needed.
do you? Come on.
Space Jam. That's what
Let's
I'm gonna
see
say.
you dribble.
Sorry. So that is him. I do you know what? They're all horrible, everyone we discuss. Sometimes there's a sort of a filament of empathy or sympathy to their situation. He's just a fucking asshole, and he honestly reminds me of that. Like, I'm just sounding like a man hater. Hashtag not all
Let
men.
it out, mate.
I mean, there's just what I'm discovering is just it's so common for so many men to be fucking abysmal abusers and get away with it, and some of them get to the point of murdering. Very, very few of them get that far, but some of them are perfectly happy with ruining people's lives and bullying them and terrorizing them and just their kids, you know, the mums especially. And that's why I hated him, because he reminded me of so many of the cunts that are peripherally in my life.
Yeah.
Blah.
It's just horrible, depressing, and there are more. There will be more
100%.
murders. I think there's probably more than you'd think with this.
Imagine that. Imagine, you know, being like this a brother or sister or parent or whatever of a young woman who goes like traveling, spending some time in Europe, and then it just goes quiet, and then you contact the police and go, oh, it'll be very hard to find. And then you just have decades of being like, maybe one day she'll turn up. Like, no closure. Horrific.
Awful.
So that is the scalp hunter.
I'm so glad to have got rid of him.
He's
because
fucking horrible.
He's been hanging over us now.
Yeah, he has.
Like weeks.
We're going to do a Halloween special, aren't we?
Yeah.
We're going to do a multi-parter. And we're doing a different show for the live show in Ireland, which we're really excited about. We decided on that the other
we
day.
decided on that the other day. It's going to be fun.
We haven't decided on Christmas yet, have we?
No, I can't.
But we did go back and forth on someone, so I think there's someone in the mix. So yes, still tickets available for that. I'm on tour until December, all over the United Kingdom and Ireland. So please come.
United Kingdom and Ireland.
Great Britain,
All over.
the home of civility.
Great Britain, this great nation, which is the envy of the world. She will be performing all over it.
I'm genuinely doing loads of places. I'm doing loads of Scottish dates. I'm doing loads of Welsh dates. And of course, England, you're well taken care of. And dates in Ireland as well, which I can't fucking wait. I love Irish gigs.
What have I got?
What have you got? You're on tour next year.
Next year. It's on sale now. Oh yeah, well there you go. It's on sale now.
Yeah.
Doing a mixture of character and stand up.
Oh, are you?
Yeah. So that's
Great.
for and dare I say, I actually enjoyed Edinburgh this year. Really enjoyed it. I was like, I like what I'm doing. I'm into it. It's only taken years and years for it to for the sort of nerves to lift.
If it's not too cringe, I'm really proud of you. I think it's really. I think all right. I think you're shit. But I can still be proud that you're trying.
It's really good to see you having a go.
No, but I think it's really difficult when you start. I know this from trying to do stand up in Welsh and it just being really hard, and you feel embarrassed because you know what it's like to be funny, and you're still you're trying to work something out in doing something else. It's a big it's big ego knock. It's a big leap of faith. You've got to work really hard, and you've done all that, and it was brilliant. I loved it.
Thanks, mate, and I'm very happy that I've done it. And I feel
Thanks
like
for seeing my show.
I'm coming to see your
No,
show.
fucking joke.
No, I knew this is what it would be.
No, as if I've said loads of times I think your show's brilliant.
Yes, but I am going to come and see your show, and I will come and see it. Possibly when you do the one here, Bloomsbury.
Not doing Bloomsbury.
No, what was it? The
Hackney Earth.
Hackney Earth. I'll come to that. So oh my god.
Anyway, go and see Rachel.
See, women can't be fun.
Go and see Rachel on tour. Thanks for being so patient with the podcast, and thanks to Owen who does it all.
Yes, thank you, Owen. There's something else as well that I thought we should mention, and I can't remember what it is. I can't remember. But yeah,
Actually,
thank you.
do you know what? I put up a little video on the Legends Facebook page, not your private one, the one that we've got, the All Killer one, and said, listen, we're really sorry, we're having tech problems, it's going to be free. And I thought, it's going to be free. It's going to be late. And I thought, people are going to be like, but the most common suggestion was, didn't realise you had a schedule.
Yeah, that was really funny. There's a schedule.
And then loads of people were like, oh no, our free podcast, you know,
Yeah.
and they were so nice. I was like, oh, that's so lovely.
Well, bloody good job, really, because I did see the replies and I was like, oh, that's nice. Like, there's a
They were
schedule
lovely.
we didn't realise, but I really appreciate that because I mean, to be honest with you, there's always one every month.
Yeah.
Used to be the 13th.
Well, no, because it's the Monday. It's like the second week, the Monday and the second
we're
week.
on different.
Listen,
Even we're don't know.
we're not gonna
ain't got a clue.
be beholden to dates.
Absolutely not.
But thank you so
will
much
get
for
one
listening.
a month.
Yes. Is that everything?
That's every. Is that every? Do you know that's what I say in arguments?
Is that? Oh God,
Is that everything?
I would fucking throw you out the window
Yeah.
if you said that.
All
to
right,
me.
okay. Is that everything? Oh, I'm punchable, aren't I?
Not now, no, because you've just reignited everything. Thanks very much for listening. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.